Hello, hello, all my physical science peeps. This is Miss MC Square coming at you for your speed formative assessment, giving you some tips and tricks on this and helping you with that first problem so that you can get at least a 1 on this assessment, a passing grade on this assessment. That you're showing that you're able to do the content with a little bit of help. All right, so here we go. So this is the assessment in your Unit 1 Speed Formative Assessment. So you have the slides in there. Now, if you have your notebook turned in somewhere else, you have 1 or 2 options. You can unsubmit it there and do this, or you can do it just right on these slides, and then when you get your notebook back, you can add them in later. But you will need to use your notebook because you need your measurements lab. That's the one requirement that you need to do or need to have done for this assessment. You need to have your data from that lab because you're going to use it. All right, so I've taken these, and you can shift and select slide 2, and that will select both of them, and then you can right click and go copy, okay, or select the slide, edit, select all, and then edit, copy, okay? And then you can go into your notebook. So this is my notebook here, and I've already got it pasted in, but you can go click between the slides. So you're going right after this speed, right after these 2 pages that we did, that I showed you last week, click between, and you can paste. All right, now, if the first slide ends up being funky, make sure you select don't match presentation or something like that, okay? Because it messes with your slides. This first one might be weird. So if it ends up being weird, click don't match presentation, all right? Keep current formatting, something like that. Okay, so I already added them in, so I'm gonna take those out. Okay, so I want you to look at something. There's a little bit of a difference between the claim evidence reasoning section here and how the claim evidence reasoning looks in the problems that we did on Thursday. Okay, so we went in here, your question, like essential question, right, is there. Your evidence is the data, okay? Your evidence is the data that you get from the problem. Your formula and putting in the numbers is your reasoning. So that's blue, your data is green, and your claim, your answer, is in red. So when you look at the actual assessment, your answer is at the top there for the red, your reasoning, your equation is in the middle, and your evidence is at the bottom. So that's how it's going to be set up, because your reasoning connects your evidence to the claim. So it's a go-between. All right, so the first question here, so how I put this stuff in, I didn't add a little text box. I actually inserted a text box, and I did a big one to cover the whole question so that I could just like click enter, enter, you know, space bar across to put things where I needed it. So my box is already there. I filled this stuff in. So looking at my measurement lab that's up here, and you would see this, my notebook is attached in as a teacher example that you can look at any time. And you can see that my data and everything. So for question A. Now each of these questions moves you up the grade scale. So to get a 1, you need to have this correct with your data. To get a 2, you need to use your data and do it on your own. Level 3, it's kind of, you need to figure out which equation you're going to use, things like that. And then on the next page, the 4 is kind of a multi-step problem, all right, to show that, you know, you've got this, this is easy now, I can take it next level. So if you do all 4 problems, you'll have a 4 and A. Do them correctly, that is. Okay, so with this first question here, use your data table from your measurements lab, What was your average speed across the kitchen in meters per second? So you need to make sure that your measurements for your kitchen is in meters and seconds. If you did centimeters or inches or something for your distance, you need to change that. You need to use Google and say, you know, how many meters are in however many inches or centimeters or whatever you did. Make sure it's in meters. And then you have seconds. So the average speed in meters per second. So first question you need to ask yourself, what are we trying to find? We're trying to find speed. So speed is what? What's the equation for it? Speed is distance divided by time, like you guys have been putting in for the past 2 weeks into the chat. So you put the equation where it says to put the equation in the reasoning. Speed is distance divided by time, right there. Now you can go, okay, what evidence do I need to plug in to my equation? What data do I need to plug into the equation? So I need a distance and a time. Which distance and time? Well, for the kitchen, right? What's the distance across the kitchen and what was the time it took to get across the kitchen? So again, I would go to my measurements lab, and in my measurements lab, my distance across the kitchen was 3 meters and it took me 2 seconds. Now you can put both distance and time in this same square. That's totally fine. That's totally acceptable. So then you're going back to your reasoning and you're going to put your evidence, your data, plug it into the equation and figure it out. Notice I'm keeping my units. You must have your units on there. I'm just going to send it back. It is incorrect if you do not have your units on all of your numbers, because numbers without units are meaningless in science. So we put our measurements in, plug it into the equation, 3 meters divided by 2 seconds, 1.5, and then meter and second, M and S, they're not the same, they don't cancel out, so we have to carry them down, just like if they were like an X and a Y, right? So 1.5 meters per second, and that would be the answer. So we showed our data, we showed our reasoning, plugged in our data and our reasoning to get our answer. If you want to put it into a complete sentence, that is fantastic. All right, but I do at least want to see the 1.5 meters per second. Sorry, throat's dry. And then in question 2, you're using the distance and the time across the driveway or whatever space outside that you measured. All right, and then in 3, you're going to use the speed that you got from question A to use to answer that question. All right. So that is how you do that. Then the last thing that you need to do is to add it to your table of contents and link those slides. Alrighty, so that is all for the speed assessment. If you have any questions, please put it below or message me or email me personally and I will help you out. If you if you have any tips or tricks for me, anything else that you think might be helpful, I would love to hear your feedback. And make sure you subscribe so you'll always know what is happening in our physical science classes. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Bye.